The lavender ghost in the passenger seat of my regret. They say, in the Midwest, the wind doesn't just blow. It talks. It carries the scent of coming rain, the dry rattle of corn husks in October, and if you listen long enough, it carries the things you were too proud to say when you had the chance. I'm sitting on the porch of a farmhouse that started to feel more like a museum than a home. It's been 8 months. 8 months since the gravel crunched under the tires of Sarah's sedan for the last time. I used to think that the loudest sound a man could hear was an argument. You know the kind. The slamming of a heavy oak door, the screech of tires on a wet driveway, those bitter, jagged words we throw like stones, specifically aimed at the softest parts of the person we love the most. But I was wrong. The loudest sound in the world is the silence of a house that used to be full of her. It's the sound of the refrigerator humming at 3 in the morning when you're standing in the kitchen, staring at a half-empty carton of almond milk you know you'll never drink because she was the only one who liked it. The doctors, they're good people. They use words like persistent vegetative state. They use clinical, sterile terms to describe my living nightmare. Every single afternoon, at exactly 4:15, I walk through the sliding glass doors of the Mercy General ICU. I pass the vending machine that's been out of Diet Coke since Tuesday. I nod to the night nurse, Elena, who looks at me with that specific kind of pity, the kind you reserve for a dog that won't leave its master's grave. I sit in that chair. Room 412. It's a room that smells like bleach and false hope. I hold her hand. It's gone soft, you know, not the hard-working hand that used to garden until her fingernails were stained with Kentucky soil. It's delicate now, like parchment. I talk to her. I tell her about the weather. I tell her the local high school football team finally won a game. I tell her the coffee at the bistro downstairs. God, Sarah, it tastes like battery acid and burnt plastic, but I never told her about the car. Not until yesterday. See, for 8 months, her car was sitting in the back corner of Miller's impound lot. I couldn't bring myself to look at it. I couldn't look at the twisted metal that tried to take her away. But the lawyers, they kept calling. They needed the insurance papers. They needed the registration. They needed me to face the ghost. Walking up to that car, it felt like approaching a crime scene where I was the only suspect. It was tucked under a thick layer of New York dust and grime. I pulled the handle, and for a split second, the world stopped. I smelled her. It wasn't just a memory. It was her. Vanilla perfume. That expensive dry shampoo she always complained was too pricey, and the faint scent of the peppermint gum she kept in the door pocket. Her favorite pair of aviators were still sitting on the dash, resting right where she'd left them before the world turned upside down. There was a half-empty bottle of water in the cup holder, a receipt for a coffee she never finished. I reached for the glove box. My fingers were shaking. I mean, really shaking, like a leaf in a November gale. I clicked the button, expecting a mess of manuals and old maps, but I didn't find papers. I found a small, lavender envelope. It was dated the morning of the crash, June 14. Her handwriting, it was always so neat, so looping. It just said, to my husband, for when the silence gets too loud, I haven't opened it. I know. You're thinking, how can you not open it? But you have to understand. I carry it in my breast pocket every single day now. I feel the weight of that paper against my ribs. It feels like a heartbeat that isn't mine. I'm terrified, friend. If I open that letter, and it says she was leaving me, then our story ended with a period. A cold, hard, final stop. It means the last thing I ever said to her, that I was too busy to talk about our problems while I stared at a laptop screen, was the closing chapter. But if it says she was giving us one more chance, if it says she still believed in the man I used to be, then I have to live the rest of my life knowing I was holding a winning lottery ticket and I let it blow out the window. Yesterday, Elena, the nurse, she came in to change the floor. She saw me staring at that lavender envelope. She's seen a lot of people break in this room. She looked at me, real quiet, and she said, you know, Mr. Thorne, sometimes people stay in the gray because they're waiting for permission to go. I looked at Sarah. Her face was so peaceful. The machines were doing the breathing for her. Hiss, click, hiss. I took the letter out. I held it up to the light. I almost broke the seal. I wanted the truth more than I wanted my next breath, but then I looked at her hand. I didn't open it. Instead, I took her fingers and I placed that letter into her palm. I closed her hand around it, nice and slow. I leaned down, my lips brushing against her temple, and I whispered, I'm not reading this, Sarah. Not today. Not like this. You're going to wake up and you're going to read it to me yourself. I don't care if it takes 10 years. I don't care if I'm an old man in a different chair. I am staying, and for the first time in 8 months, the silence in that room didn't feel heavy. It felt like a breath being held. She spent 5 years waiting for me to come home from the office. 5 years waiting for me to look up from my phone and actually see her. I think I can spend the rest of my life waiting for her to come back from the dark because some things, some stories, they aren't meant to end in a hospital room. They're meant to be fought for.